Hey everybody, Tina Campbell, the New York Regional Partner of Master Networks. If you know us, we are a national networking organization, and we're definitely here to help. We're looking to our members and to beyond our members to help people grow and pivot during this time, and to really help them transition to the new norm. And today I'm here with Cameron Toth, and he's here to talk about life best practices. Hey Cameron, how you doing?
Good, Tina. Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. I'm excited to hear about this.
All right, very cool. All right, so just a little bit about me. You can see in the background, Cameron Toth, Toth Event Staffing. I provide waiters, bartenders, chefs for events. You can see in the background here, lots of my staff from events. I'm a great resource if you're wanting to get together on a Friday night with friends and family in your own home. We'll take care of you, make you enjoy yourself, and make your life better. Also, if you're planning an event, whether it's a small thing at home or a big thing out and about, we can hook you up with the right vendors, rentals, catering, all that good stuff. And of course, we can help you out with the staff. So that being said, I'm going to jump into my presentation. I'm going to share my screen here. And I just want to share some best practices. I'm a father of 5. I have 4 at home. I had a child at 19. So I've done the School of Hard Knocks and have some things to share on that as well. All right. Now, as we go into this, I'm a business owner, Toth Event Staffing. I've owned that for the last 8.5 years. We started in August of 2011. I've been working with a nonprofit in the city doing college and career preparation for high school students for the last 24 years, started in 1996, and I'm currently on the board of that organization, soundbusiness.org, if you want to check that out. My career I've done everything from bartending to food service management to medical education, meeting planning. Again, I have 4 kids at home, and then a man that luckily hasn't, as far as I know, had any kid, but could have kids of his own because he's 22 years old. So I have a 13-year-old, a 11-year-old, a 8-year-old, 9-year-old, sorry, and a 3-year-old at home here. And I also live at home with my wife and my father-in-law. So you can see them all pictured there.
Beautiful.
All right. So first thing, we're in this COVID-19 environment, but regular real life, my children get compliments. The only thing that I can tell you that I think that we do and we do consistently that really helps with it, aside from just, practicing good manners, keeping bedtimes. Keeping bedtimes is probably the first thing that you want to do. Great best practice. It helps with the morning routine. But it just makes sure that you have some mental health as well, because kids are going to bed on time. They can get up on time, allows you to have your own morning and evening routines. And then in terms of your schedule, creating some time, whether it's in a time like this with COVID-19, creating some activities in the middle of the day or the end of the day, but just creating some family time for you and your children. Keeping the bedtime, even though there's not necessarily a school activity to get up for, just keeping bedtimes, getting everybody into the habit of showering, brushing teeth, going to bed, really key and critical. Helps with the manners. When people are tired, they don't act well. Bedtime, 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 morning routine, get up, get dressed, get ready. Keeping those schedules with kids is a great way to make sure that you have well-behaved children.
Cool.
And then the other side, the other thing that you really want to focus on, because even the most rested child will get into the mindset, and I say child, but it could be an adult as well. We all get down. We get thinking about how hard things are financially, whatever it is, whether it's your small child or it's you, being grateful for the big things. The fact that you're breathing right now, the small things, the fact that I have this cup of coffee, this piece of food in front of me, a working bathroom, electricity, right? All of that fun stuff. Really just important to center yourself. I like to meditate by doing some rigorous exercise, jumping jacks, push-ups, and then controlling my breathing and being grateful. Great way to center yourself, great way to center your kids and walk them through that as well. All right, so best practice number 2, we talked about, kids and mindfulness. How do we control the pressures of everyday life and reality? I'm 42 years old and money has always been a challenge. And the only way that I've sort of been able to get ahead of this at all is by understanding that if I'm not saving, that I do not have money. About to mention Chaz in a moment, and his great talk on how he talked about putting different accounts together for a business, everything having its own pot basically. But if you aren't saving, you are not making money. So until you put those dollars in a savings account, it really doesn't matter. Life becomes a lot easier. So save small. That's, if you can save $5 a week, start there. Even during these rough times where people are challenged financially, I don't believe that you cannot save. You can put some money away. There's ways to do it. Obviously, when things get back to normal, there'll probably be more opportunities, but save bigger when you can. For kids, a great thing that I've been trying to do with my daughter, she's been babysitting over the summer, is putting 50% of everything that she earns into the bank account. Kids don't really have a lot of expenses. Great time for them to start it. If I would have been saving that way from when I was a kid, I'd be a lot wealthier now. Does that make sense, Tina?
Are you kidding me? Yeah, I keep telling my kids that.
Yeah, it's such a big deal, and time really plays a big part into it. If I had been saving from an early point in my youth, I would be able to give a lot more now, be able to do a lot more to help people in these hard times. We're doing okay because I just started really saving a couple years ago, and we're actually in a lot better position than we would have been if I hadn't. But I just think about, if I'd been saving that kind of way for 20 years, we would be able to go out and help, frontline folks that are helping other people. We would be in a better position to help our community.
Compound interest, right?
Exactly. So I wanted to mention some tools that have been really useful for me. Reach out to your network, people that are smarter about this, that have more experience. I want to mention Christopher Calabro from my Pleasantville chapter of Master Networks. He's a fiduciary, understanding that a fiduciary has to work in your best interest. There are lots of folks that will say that it's in their best interest to help you, but a fiduciary really has that legal sort of requirement in place that they have to be working in your best interest. So reach out to Christopher Calabro. You can find his information through Tina, but he's somebody that, if you're really lost on this, seek some great advice, and that's going to really help you out. I mentioned him first because you can do lots of different things, but you should definitely work with people, especially if you aren't knowledgeable around this stuff. Work with somebody to help you, guide you. There's bank accounts that are better than others. There's lots of tools out there, but getting good guidance, there's just no substitute for that. Robinhood app is something that I downloaded just a little over a year and a half ago to get into the stock market. I started investing. I have a few $1,000s in. It's not a huge amount, but it's something that's going to grow. And when you start looking anything up online about investing, they talk about, this appreciation and interest and, accumulation of wealth. Stocks are a great place to do it. It is risky. Obviously, the stock market just took a huge hit, but it's very telling. I did not panic, and that's the advice. Keep your investments. Even though my stocks lost money, most of the losses have already been gained back. Whereas if I would have sold off stuff, it would have been very difficult to time the market and actually have saved or made any money. So you're better off just putting your money in and investing over the long term, and you will make money. And then for that low risk, especially when you don't have a lot of money to invest, just having that savings that we talked about, putting money into a separate bank account so that you can actually start saving money. And if you want to hear more about that, I would definitely listen to Chaz Wilson speaking about money. Great talk when he came to New York recently. Really grateful to having been present for that. I really, going back to, listening to people that have more information on this topic than you do, please reach out. It'll really help you out. As a bonus, sort of a best practice thing for those folks that have kids that are on their progression towards college and career, preparation is really the best thing that you can do in order to make sure that you're ready for college. I'm going to switch back to my view here. I really want to just make sure that folks understand, if you want to get your kid ready for college and career, preparation. It starts with the money. Savings accounts for kids are going to really be a great thing, because I think everybody's goal, aside from a great education and a great career and many options on the table, is that they're not saddled with debt. And the best way for a child not to be saddled with debt is for them to understand money and savings. If they're saving money, they're going to be in a better position to make investments, to invest in themselves. So doing that. The best way to afford college is going to be having great grades and applying to many different schools, so that you are leveraging your grade point average, your curricular activities for a lower cost, higher education. Understanding the resources of those colleges that you're applying to are really key, because an education at a commuter college is going to be much different value than going to an Ivy League or a competitive liberal arts college. If you're interested in more information around college and college resources, please reach out to me, Cameron Toth, and I'll help you out. Understand that preparing your kids for college and career is the same way you would prepare yourself for any kind of business venture. It's who you know, not what you know. So make sure that you're leveraging your network. Make sure that they're leveraging all of the different resources available to them in their elementary, junior high, high school experience. I just interviewed one of our alumni the other day, and she actually got her first job out of her very nice college education. She came back and was struggling to get a job, and the person that connected her to her first job was somebody that she met in high school. So really leveraging who you know, important for us professionals and really important for the children. That's it. That's my best practices.
Well, that's awesome. And I was thinking about that. Like, I didn't realize I should have realized that you were going to talk about college prep, but I think because of your participation in soundbiz.com and how much you work with the young people to get the word out on this, right? And get them connected to the right people. One of the things I did was I wrote, because of my kids being in college, I wrote on LinkedIn a blog on who I believe you should network with in every year of college. I did 4 LinkedIn blogs, and it's just something they might want to, I'd like your opinion, to see whether or not you thought it was, it made sense. But I've really found that, and I believe it goes even earlier, like you said, into at least high school, right? When you're starting to figure out, and you're getting those mentors, you're getting mentors in your life. You might have coaches, you might have whoever. And I think that's the key, and that people aren't really realizing it, that you don't start in junior year of high school. You could start really way before that. The kids can start way before that. So I think that's really cool.
If I can just add to that, because it's a great point, the way that I was taught about what high school or the lower, rungs of education do before you get to higher education is it's teaching you how to teach yourself, so that when you get to college, you're then, at that mastery level. Now you're gaining mastery skills and going out into the world and doing research and stuff. But until you get to college, you're learning how to learn, right? You're building your basic skills. So it's sort of taking that piece of it. Well, what's the most important thing in life, in business? It's your communication skills. It's your networking skills. So you want to start building those skills, especially in yourself, but in your kids very, very early on, because those are the skills that are truly going to guide their earning potential.
Absolutely. And it's amazing to me that more people don't think this way. I have to tell you, I mean, it's something that I'm shocked. And I even say to a lot of our members, I'll say, do your kids know what you do? Because it's important for them too to understand, what does mom and dad do? And like, you know what, and it doesn't matter whether that you work for somebody else, or just let them understand that. I always tell people, well, if you want to, you know, if it's age appropriate, bring your kid to a Master Networks meeting. Could you imagine if they saw, like I'm saying, it would be hard. We've actually had babies show up, so that's fine. But it's like it's hard to have hard to have kids all the time. But I'm saying is, like, we've had a college connect in one of our meetings where that we invited as many college kids as we could to come to see what we were doing. And maybe I'd love to do high school, but sometimes it's they're early in the morning themselves to getting to class. But I think that it's just a great, even if you took your kid to work day, I'm sure your kids, by working at home, your kids probably know what you do, right?
I fell in love with our school district because I went to my niece's class and she had gotten up in front of the class and she was asked to recite a poem. And I was astounded because this was a second grade class, and I had been working at A. Philip Randolph Campus High School, where I do this soundbusiness.org nonprofit in the city. And I think many of the high school students wouldn't have been able to get up like that second grader niece of mine at the time and present from the front of the class. Those skills that we're utilizing when we get up and do our 30-second or 60-second intro are so critical. When kids are getting that piece, when they're building on that skill set, that's the whole game. If you can get up and talk about what you do, you're going to be a better associate in a company. You're going to be a better business owner or entrepreneur. There's no industry that you don't have to, or you won't benefit from better communicating what you do or how you do it, in a team environment. So those are the skills that, absolutely should be encouraged. And yeah, absolutely. If we can have a day where we bring our kid to Master Networks Day, you'll see right away those kids that, are getting that at home and not, if you're getting up and you're too shy and you can't force yourself to do it. I have it within my family member, my kids' cousins, some of them are very shy, whereas my kids, there's different levels obviously, but they're not going to
hold back.
They won't disappear, where others will like be, getting behind.
From it. I know. I have to tell you, I was painfully shy when I was growing up until college. And I feel like, wow, maybe I missed out on some stuff. But I mean, it was the way it was. And thank goodness that, it was through my college roommate that was like, come on, let's go, and dragged me around. I said, wow, I really love being this way. This is great. And I changed my entire trajectory of my future. Changed. I could never have done this the way that I was.
It's so important, right? I consume a lot of Gary Vaynerchuk's content, and one of the things that he talks about is, you're never too old. It's not, stop, if you're 20 and you're feeling like you're over the hill and you didn't get this, like stop that. If you're 40, you've got a lot of life ahead of you. If you're 60, there's, a lot of life ahead of you. Don't get down on yourself. Like, it takes some people more time. Don't go crazy. At the same time, he also says, time is essential. If you could go back, 20 years, he'd do it in a heartbeat, because time is that thing that you just can't get back. It's your most valuable commodity, and you can leverage time so much. So, you know, a kid that's a little bit more ahead of the game and knows some of this stuff, it's invaluable.
No, well, I totally agree with you. And thank you for sharing with me. And I knew that we were like-minded, but I didn't know how much we were like-minded. So I really appreciate this. I really enjoyed it.
That's great. Let me throw out my contact
Yeah,
information. Thank you so much for having me.
absolutely. And the other thing that we're going to do, just so you know, in the description of this is going to be on YouTube. We're going to be able to put in the comment section all of this contact information so that there's live links in there. So and this will be also on our Facebook group. So I'll be able to tag you on it.
All right,
All right.
sounds good.
Okay. Thank you. So talk to you later. Oops, there we go. Time's up. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you spending time with me.